Okay, so hello and welcome to the ULU Coffee Break on Getting into Schools with Stephanie Preston. She's from Albany Public Library and is going to be talking about getting into the public school system to meet with teachers and stuff. So here she is. I'm going to hand it over to her and let her get started.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lauren. So I'm Stephanie Preston, as Lauren. I'm a youth services librarian at the Albany Public Library, Pine Hills branch. I'm going to talk today about public librarians' relationships with their local schools and some tips on how to form that relationship if it isn't formed already. I work at a branch of the Albany Public Library, and the particular branch I work at happens to have an elementary school right next to the library, pre-K to 6th. So when I got this job, we had some communication with this school and did some partnering, but the youth services librarians were all part-time and really unable to keep that relationship going. So when I came in as full-time, my branch manager really wanted me to try gaining more connections and to really cultivate this relationship since we're right next to the school. And you know what I'm about to say next. Every weekday at 2:30 when school ends, we get a huge group of kids from that school, and they come into the library and use our resources, mostly Minecraft, but I'm working on them to get them to use other aspects of the library. So anyway, this presentation has tips that I tried with this school, and when I first started, they worked. So let's get started. So why is this important? Some librarians have said to me, visiting the schools doesn't really matter because new kids don't come to the library anyway. But I've found that by visiting schools, you can get new people to come to the library. For example, last May, before our summer reading program, we made a system-wide effort in Albany to visit as many schools as we could to promote the summer reading program. I went to, I think, about 3 or 4 schools in my branch's jurisdiction. It was around there. But our summer reading participation numbers were up, and our management attributes that to making more of an effort to visit the schools. So while I agree somewhat, I also saw a lot of new kids at my branch that haven't participated since I've been working there. So that's a perfect example of more kids using the library if you're present in the schools. Of course, it's good to know what teachers are doing in your local school because it helps you when you're helping them with a project, and you also know what to buy for your collection to fill those gaps in. It helps having a relationship if you have behavior issues. We've had some issues in the past, and we're able to work with the elementary school to get some backup or to just get some feedback on a kid and touch base to see if they're also acting up in school or is it just the library. So that kind of stuff. So here's probably what you have done already if you're listening to this webinar. Before you go any further, you probably have called the school to ask to speak to the librarian or the teacher, and you get, they're not here, they're in class, they can call you back. A week goes by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you call them back because you haven't heard anything. And then you repeat the steps in slide 4. They tell you, oh, they're not available right now, they'll get back to you. And you again hear nothing. But one thing I want to, address too is that that's not necessarily what they want to do. Like they intend to call you back, but because they're so busy with, teaching classes and they're so overbooked with their schedule, they just don't, they just forget or they don't have the time to do it. So if you've done this and you have not gotten any results, keep listening to this webinar. So first, before you go any further, have some time, if you haven't already, to think about what you want out of this relationship. Since, as we know, a relationship of any kind shouldn't really be a one-way street, right? So you might also know someone in the school district that they don't even have to work at the school you're trying to get into, but even if it's a hall monitor or if they do something else that has nothing to do with your mission, you can ask them anyway. and say, hey, do you know anyone at this XYZ school? Can you give me their email address? It might surprise you how easy it can be to get some information just by talking to other people that are working in the school district, even, cafeteria ladies, whatever, security guards. If you don't know anyone, or if you've tried this avenue already and it didn't work, I would say go to the school. Like, physically get up and walk or drive to it and talk to people in the school until you get a solid lead. Some librarians I've talked to don't physically go to the schools. They email, they call, and then they give up. But it's mostly because they think they won't get anywhere, or they feel it's intrusive. But even if they don't let you into the school, trust me, it's not intrusive. And the person that isn't letting you into the school because you need to make an appointment or whatever reason probably has some insight on your problem. And just by talking to them, you might gain some knowledge that you wouldn't have just sitting at the reference desk sending emails out. One of the librarians I work with at APL has famously said many times, if you want to be a successful librarian, get up and get out of the library. Shout out to Rebecca Lubin. And it's really very true, because you can form so many new connections just by exploring the neighborhood and finding out more about what people want from their public library, and including going to the schools. Also, someone we partner with at the library a lot, who is an education and literacy advocate in Albany, her name is Nolene Smith, has said to me that it's everyone's right to know what's going on in the school and to be able to visit and see what's going on, because we all pay taxes for it. We're all community members, and it's something we all have stake in. Even if we don't have kids, it's something that is just benefits the community as a whole. So you can visit the school. It's not going to hurt, and the worst they could say is no. So who you want to know in the schools. Obviously, the principal would be great, because he's going to be the one who knows everyone. The patron's teacher, like if you have if you have a problem with a specific patron, maybe their teacher has some insight. Maybe some reading teachers, because they'll be able to help you with things that they're learning in school, and you can help them too at the library. The students. And most importantly, the school librarians. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, but since they are also librarians and probably have a lot of concerns and aspirations you do, they're going to know a lot of things that you want to know, and they're going to help because they're librarians, and we tend to help each other in this profession a lot, which is a great thing. So now I'm going to talk about, if you've done this already and it just doesn't seem to be working out, here are some options. So for New York State, at least, we have a lot of good information on our state website to convince people why public libraries are so important and awesome. So maybe send this to the principal who thinks the internet is taking over reference and librarianship is dead, or, the teacher who's overbooked and can't really find time to schedule anything and doesn't really have any interest. So you can send these articles to them. One of the articles I've linked is a study from the New York Comprehensive Center talking about the link between school libraries and student achievement. Even though it's focusing on school libraries, I think it's still prevalent to public libraries too. The second article is also a study from the New York Comprehensive Center about the impact of public libraries on students and lifelong learning, which we all know. That's a really good one to have in your back pocket. It may seem like common sense to you guys, but, as we know, it's unfortunate that it isn't common sense to a lot of the people in the public. So if you need links to these articles, please feel free to email me after the webinar. I'm going to include my email address too. Let's see. Also, volunteer opportunities. So in the Albany City School District, they have a volunteer program that I found just from, researching the website. They don't really advertise it too well, but you can apply for it. And if you get accepted, the volunteer coordinator actually assigns you to a school, and you can go there and just help out with whatever is needed. I told the volunteer coordinator that I'm a librarian and I was interested in getting more acquainted with the schools and the classes that the kids that are coming to the library are in. So the volunteer coordinator scheduled me doing pre-K story times, for the classes, helping the school class. So I kind of just did random stuff whenever I could. Thankfully, my branch manager was really cool and let me the school and do these things. So it's really part of the volunteer work that I did there, but it's just another venue to make myself more known in the schools. So try to find out if your school district has volunteer opportunities like this, and or if your manager will let you do this, then go for it. It's probably the best move I made to get acquainted. I don't really go there for weekly visits anymore, so it's not something, if you feel like it might be a chore to go every week to, do something with them, or you're busy, your schedule is crazy, it's something that, is only just going to be a short-term thing. So after doing, you want your goal to really be the school contacting you rather than you always contacting the school. And initially, when you form these relationships with teachers, principals, librarians, you can send an email out every once in a while and anything I can help you with. Maybe we can schedule a library card sign up visit. And with the library card visits as an example, by schedule these a couple times, you'll find that the school will be contacting you for this. And one thing I'd like to stress too, like I said, is that it takes a long time for this relationship to really blossom. I've been going at this for almost 2 years at this branch, and I'm just seeing results now. Like this fall, I've gotten inquiries from teachers and librarians that I've never got. Usually it's me emailing them being like, hey, I'm here, let's do library card signups. But finally, I've been getting, hey, I know you come in the fall to do library card signups. Do you want to schedule that? And it's very rewarding to feel that you have, all that hard work is paid off. And I hope that you'll be able to do this too. When you have this relationship formed, something else you can do is a program series where you have one event at the public library and the next event at the school library. I actually did this with Albany High School with the librarians there. We scheduled an e-reader class that taught kids and teens how to download books with Overdrive on their device, and then the librarian publicized it in the schools. I publicized it in the public library, and then we did a Skype author visit the next month at the high school library, and I came in with my APL swag and program guides and all that stuff. The author was Maya Van Wagenen. By the way, she wrote a nonfiction book, Popular, and that was really fun. So if you need any more insight or have any comments or questions, I know this is only 15 minutes, so there isn't really too much time to talk extensively about this. But please feel free to email me. I'm always willing to help a librarian better themselves. So that's my email address. So you can write that down. And thank you so much. And I'm all set.
All right, thanks for coming into the coffee break. And last week, for those of you who are watching, click my coffee cup, which is not in support of any particular brand, to subscribe for the next one. Have a good day.